We're glad that you're with us here at Laymen Ministries studio. Pastor Johnson's visiting with us again from India. And Pastor Johnson, just about once a year in the springtime, almost every year now for the last 3, 4, 5 years, you've been able to come here and visit with us. And I was just in India with you just a few weeks ago. It's really great to always have you come here, and this is a prime opportunity for us to be able to share with you about some of the things that are happening right now in India, because we've had a lot of exciting developments. In fact, when I was there, one of the purposes that I was there was we had a special event going on. You'd like to talk about that?
Yes, the excited event, or we can say the milestone of Laymen Ministry in India, because our 18-year journey, this year is an excitement event happened. When you came, we had a dedication of the new center, Laymen Ministries Center in India. Because in this center, we have a training center, TV production studio, book storage.
We've been talking for quite a while about building a television studio and training center, but we were just having so many difficulties trying to find property. We had some money, but not enough money, and we looked probably for 2.5 years, 3 years praying and looking and praying and looking. How did you discover this property?
Yes, since 2009 we were searching for the property. I know you visited many property, but it is a huge amount. We cannot afford it and we don't have funds.
Yeah, people don't understand that in Chennai, right in the city of Chennai, it's like New York City trying to buy property, the prices. But this is located outside the city, so it's not only nicer being in the country, but it's a lot less money for the purchase of the property. So what happened? How did you find that property?
Since 2009, we have been praying for the property. And you have been asking, Pastor, what happened? Where is the land and how far we reached? But in 2012, God opened a way for us. It is a sudden opening. One church member, he called me for a meeting in a village. He purchased some property, and in that village he wanted to plant a church. So he asked me, Pastor, why can't you come and preach 3 days? Then first day I didn't go. He was so upset. The third day he came to my home. Pastor, you have to come.
This is kind of sound like the story of Jonah a little bit.
You are right, exactly. Because like Jonah, I was not going, but God, at last, God gave me opportunity to land that place, and I preached a sermon. The village people were so happy because so far they were seeing me only in the TV. Now they were so excited. Oh, Pastor Johnson has come. Pastor Johnson has come. Then at the end, the church elder told me, there is a property. Why can't you buy? I said, why I need a property? Pastor, you have to buy.
Did you forget about the fact that we needed property for the studio?
Yes, that moment, because it is a kind of dark and there is a people.
Oh, it's nighttime?
Yeah, it's a nighttime because after the meeting, the meeting closed around 9 p.m. And then I'm also kind of tired and I want to go. Then next day, again he called me. Pastor, it's a good property, please buy. Then the same night I called you. And you also asked me, what happened? How the
come
things...
we haven't found property yet?
Yes. Then next day, I called him. Okay, let's go to that place. Then finally, when I saw the property, I was so happy. And when you came, and you also happy about the property, because it is a kind of not in the city,
but it's still close to the city, and it's got good roads going to this area. And it's a nice place because it's quiet for a studio. You need to have kind of a quiet place, not in the hustle and bustle of town. And this property is only going to go up in value. You know, if the Lord doesn't come in the next couple of years, it's probably we're going to see it go up in value. So you purchased the property, and it was 1 year ago. I was there. It was just bare ground.
Yeah.
And then a lot happened this past year. What happened exactly?
Yeah, last year when you came, I showed the property, and you were I was worried whether you will be happy or not. And but by God's grace, you said, nice. Then we didn't have any money for construction. But
we paid for the property in cash.
Yes, we paid the money for property, and we didn't have money for the construction. But it is the providence of God. And through Laymen Ministry, funds and the people that we were able to finish.
We had people donate money for this project, and it was such an answer to prayer. Nobody gave just great, big, huge amounts of money. It was just little bits and pieces here.
Right.
And so we were able to start construction. But you said something. There was some people baptized in this area, where there was no Adventist presence at all. Very few Christians even in that area. How many people were baptized by the result of the Bible workers and the evangelism where we were going to build this training center?
It is 28 people were baptized
Praise
in
God.
that village.
Yeah, and when we were there just here a few weeks ago, one of those church members has faithfully been like a guard, watching the whole thing and making sure nobody's stealing anything. So within a period of like 9 months,
Yes.
the building was up,
Yes.
and a
6
church
months.
was built.
Yes, church and the construction of the studio, everything finished almost 9 months.
You know what I'd like to do is I'd like to take our viewers really quickly to India and just do a quick tour of this new facility. And then when we get back, we'd like to talk about the dedication and who came and what was involved with that. So let's go to India right now. I'd like to give you a tour of our new Laymen Ministries studio. We're going to be having a dedication coming up this week for the building, and we just basically got the rough shell together. This is really in its preliminary stages right now. This is the main studio area. And because there's no acoustical material put on the walls yet, it echoes a lot in here. We have our lighting grid system in, and we're looking at lights right now. But this is where we're going to have our sets. We'll have a chroma key wall, which is a real common type thing they do here in India, plus a couple other television sets. And then around here we have the control room area. Most of the time we're going to have that main door in the front shut. That's kind of an ornamental thing that you can see at the front of the building, but that door really practically won't be used. This door will be the door that'll be used most of the time. And then you come in here. This is an audio booth, and this is where we'll be doing audio recording and possibly doing some editing eventually in here too. And then this is going to be the cave room. We're going to try to get some ventilation in here of some sort, because this room is just a cement block. When you come out the side entrance, it comes outside the studio right here and goes up these stairs. Being that this is India, the worst kind of weather that you ever have is rainstorms during the rainy season. So you can have a lot of things outside and exposed. And then this is an open bathroom area for all our workers and for people that come and visit here. And this will actually be the doorway to Laymen Ministries office. We'll have like a reception office on the side here and a little like living room seating area on this side. And then inside here we have several different rooms. A big room on this side and 2 small rooms on this side. These small rooms will be used for guest accommodations. And then this big room is going to be our mailing center. We're going to use it for having books out on a shelf that will be used for have easy access to. We'll have some books in boxes stored underneath where I showed you outside, but on the inside here we'll actually have shelves, and this is where they'll be packaging books and literature and things that send out in response to our television programs. And these are nice little rooms, kind of like bedrooms, guest rooms. Maybe have a chair or 2 in here and a little table and a bed. And when people come and stay here, they can stay at this facility and feel comfortable. Pastor Johnson's even saying that when I come here, I'll probably be staying at this office here. We'll have a kitchen that we do have a kitchen already that's on the outside of the building that will be used for cooking food and things like that. So next to the Laymen Ministries Studio Center, Training Center here, we have a church that's on some property that's in connection with our property. And the church was built by the conference office. And I'd like to take you down there and show you a little bit about what we're going to be doing with this. Like right next to the Laymen Ministries Center here, we have this church. And this church is owned by the conference. They actually built this church for us. And I'm going to have Pastor Johnson talk a little bit more about the church and what happened here before our center was built. I think you'll find it interesting. But we have a kitchen already existing here. And it's not completely functional yet, but pretty soon will be. And when we stay here or other people come to the studio, we'll have a full-time cook that will be preparing meals. You might be wondering why all the walls are painted white. Really, this is just a primer coat because the cement's fairly fresh, and so what they do is they put white on the walls first and let it set for 6 to 8 months, let everything cure really good, and this becomes like a sealer coat or a primer coat. So eventually, Laymen Ministries building will probably be like a light yellow or a beige or pastel color of some sort. Now, this is the church here, and this church is in connection with our center, and so if we ever have meetings here, training seminars or anything like that, we'll be using the church for doing the actual training. They, by the way, already have an established church here, and there's people meeting every Sabbath in this church. I'll have Pastor Johnson fill you in a little bit more about that in a second. But when we have training seminars, we can easily fit 50, 60 people in this little room, and we have a podium here, so we'll be able to do training and such here. The idea is, with this facility, is to bring groups of lay people here and have 2-3 week training seminars to train lay people to be involved with outreach ministry. In fact, if you've noticed so far, if you've watched some of Laymen Ministries videos, a lot of the work being done here is being done by lay people in connection with pastors and other church people. But basically, a lot of this work is being done by Bible workers who are lay people, and also lay people themselves getting involved with the work. So we really want to help motivate people, have them come here for 2 or 3 weeks, and then to be able to have the training that they can get to be able to know how to do this kind of work that we're already doing, and kind of perpetuate, in a greater sense, the work that's already been established here by Laymen Ministries. Then we have this big open area right here. And we have plans for this open area to actually create another building that will be used as a type of a dormitory building so that we can house up to 50, 60, 65 people to be able to come here and stay here and have full accommodations, plus like a small cafeteria where people can eat in this facility. This is going to be a Laymen Ministries training center, television studio, and that's what our goal is. And it's taken several years to get here, but it's actually finally starting to happen. Well, it was really exciting to be able to see how the Lord provided this building. And as everyone could see by watching this interview, we have kind of an empty shell right now. So what exactly is going to be the next step for utilizing this building, the television studio and the training part of it?
Now we have a building, but it is empty. We have equipments, but we have to do air condition because it is very important.
That's going to be right about $10,000 by
You
itself.
were right. You were right.
And then, believe me, in India, you want to have air conditioning.
Otherwise, it is not possible. And also the soundproof, it's very important. And the lighting, and then furniture, and the carpenter work we have to do for carpenter work.
Kind of like shelves and for benches for the editing equipment and things like that.
Yes, and also doors for the studio so that the sound will not go, because right now the door we have is a general door, but it is not for the soundproof door.
And so then the upstairs area, we're going to be able to have a place to store all our literature, which right now is stored at the Kotabakam Church and in a house someplace else. And we'll be able to mail all our literature and everything from the television ministry from one place, have a reception area. It's actually kind of like an administrative office upstairs.
You were right.
And explain to our viewing audience about what we're planning on doing as far as the training part of the center.
The purpose of that whole center, of the production, TV production center, and the training center, the book storage, for the whole purpose is to reach the unreached. The center where we are right now, it's a northern part of Chennai. Chennai is almost 1.2 million population.
It's hard for us to even imagine that. I mean, huge.
Yeah. So it is a kind of huge city and the great Christian heritage. And in this northern part of Chennai, where our studio located and the center located, it's mostly, there are 4,500 villages never heard the three angels message.
And most of these people in this area, I noticed, were Hindu. So
Yes.
probably around, you think, 90, 95%, something like
Yes,
that.
90 to 95%. It is there are 4,500 villages, and also each village like 10 to 25,000 people, and some villages it's like 100,000 to 200,000.
So this is more than just a television studio. We're going to do training there and training lay people there. But you said even right now, while we're doing this interview, you assign more Bible workers to that area that have started working. And what are they doing? And then what is the future of training lay people? What's the purpose of training lay people?
I have taken few Bible workers from the local people, because from the city to travel it is very hard. If they travel like 2 hours, then come back 2 hours, they cannot do any work. So I thought it is better to train the indigenous village people. When they go, it is very easy to visit.
Now, these people have been thoroughly grounded in the truth. These were not fast baptisms, and these people just by name only became Seventh-day Adventist Christians. These are people who really understand the Bible. Right?
You are right. You are right. So I have started a groundwork. So almost I have taken 6 new Bible workers from that place, and also we have additional 2. So total 8 Bible workers in that place are currently working. The purpose of these Bible workers, they will go to each village and plant a church. So that will be a memorial for God. And also the purpose of the training center. And if you want to reach the unreached, the 4,500 villages, I think it is very hard with the human strength and manpower.
And right now we have 24 Bible workers, and we have 2 pastors, 2 teams.
Yeah.
That's not near enough if we really are looking at the bigger scope of trying to reach so many people.
Yeah.
So this training center is going to somehow be used to help facilitate that. How is it going to be used?
The method or the strategy, the unique strategy we are going to follow. And also I hope this will work. The thing is, we are
Pray to God that this will work.
This will work, you are right. And we are planning for a revival meeting and call the old members to that our center. We are planning for a 3 days revival meeting. So all the old members around that villages, not that area, other area, the Adventist members, they will come to for the revival meeting. After the revival meeting, maybe the end of the day, I am planning to give appeal, and those who want to do some missionary work, please, you have to involve. And some retired pastors and all that we are planning to bring to our center. And the training, approximately we want to give for 4 months. It's an intensive Bible course, and also create a passion to reach the unreached.
You know, what you're talking about is not only the model for apostolic Christianity, it was the model for early Adventism. Rather than the idea of the lay people sitting in the churches and singing songs and praying and obeying, they actually become active members of evangelism themselves.
Yeah.
And that the power and the force of the church rests in the laity
You're
and
right.
not just in one pastor who's paid by the conference or something to try to
Yeah.
lord over God's heritage in a
You're
sense.
right.
And we need to empower the laity. That's what Laymen Ministries is about.
You're right.
And so what you're saying is that if we can train lay people and they can go back to their local churches and set a fire under the other people there,
Yes.
they could actually start doing this outreach in different areas.
Outreach in the different area, they can come and once in a week. And also we have a plan not only for reaching them, and we want to assign 2 people in a village, and within 1 year they have to plant a church. And church means it will be very expensive. So we have found a model, the church name called Nano Church.
Called what?
Nano Church.
What's that mean? Nano church?
Nano Church?
What's a nano? I know what a nanopod is, but what's a nano church?
Like in India, there is a car company called Tata. They have introduced a model called Nano. That means very inexpensive. It is like a $2,000. They can buy a car. So on behalf of the Laymen Ministry, we have introduced a church model called Nano Church. that cost only $2,000.
And this would be a starter church, a small church, just a place to be established in all these different areas.
Yes.
And you said 42,000 areas, basically, where there's no
4,500 villages.
4,500.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of
It's
area.
a whole district.
You know, people have a hard time just getting their heads around the idea of how many people there are in India. It's
You
just
are right.
just phenomenal. So then that creates a problem, because while we have the church there for training and we have the television studio there, the administrative building and all that stuff, you know, that the Lord is blessed with, we have another empty piece of property sitting next to.
Yeah.
And hopefully when this is done, our building will be done. But what is the plan with this empty lot right next to
Yeah, before that also I want to share one thing, maybe a quick report. The main reason we have a plan through our TV evangelism and through training, equipping the lay people, we want to reach the unreached, sharing the three angels message, and not only giving baptism, we want to put a church in an inexpensive way so that people can come and assemble. So we have a plan for the follow work and everything. And right now, also, it is not because 4,500 villages is not an easy thing. I can talk in 1 minute, but it is, you know, the situation.
Huge.
To travel from city to village, it is not an easy target. But I believe God can do a great thing.
That property that's sitting right next to our studio that we already own, it's inside of our fenced area.
Yes.
You want to build kind of like a dormitory for people for long term, like what you're thinking, 3-4 months training to be able to go out and do evangelism and church planning then, right?
You are right. The guest room right now, we have only the 2 guest room, maybe like 8 people or 4 people can stay. So we want to minimum give a training for 50 to 75 people a year. So at least 50 people can accommodate. So we need a dormitory who can accommodate 50 people, and the cafeteria, and for the cooking place and everything that we have to build. So that's a goal for the next
phase of the project. And I just want to share with our viewers, when we do this kind of building, we don't do really elaborate, big, fancy stuff. We're keeping it really practical and trying to keep the cost down as much as possible, because it's so much better to be able to put the money into television production and literature production and to saving souls than building buildings. But sometimes it's necessary to have these kind of facilities to be able to do this kind of work to help the church grow. You were even telling me that once we got a dormitory put up there, that even some of the conferences and unions might want to rent our facility once in a while for pastor meetings and things like that. So we would actually be providing for a price, a rental price, a facility for them to be able to hold some of their meetings.
You are right. And also not only for the conference or pastors meeting, even some of the outside schools and some of the companies, sometimes they want to go to the countryside and hold a meeting. Then we can get a charge, and that money we can use for the ministry. So this is two-way advantage. One way, it's a training. We are equipping the people, lay people. Also, we are getting some funds to run our monthly budget.
Yeah, and God has been so gracious to us. Just amazed on how He's provided all this. But let's get back to the television studio for a second, because a big part of this building, the whole downstairs area, is dedicated to television production. Tell us a little bit why we needed a television studio. How many different networks or stations are we on right now? And how will this studio be able to actually help our work there in India?
Right now, we are producing 9 television programs every week. And it is all a secular channel.
They're all on secular channels?
You are right.
How many different channels are we on right now?
We are in 9 different secular channels.
So we're making 1 program per week for every single channel?
Every year.
And a lot of these channels, when you say they're secular, a lot of times they're even Hindu networks.
Mostly.
And Christian, mostly all Hindu networks.
All Hindu.
Like Tamiland and Jaya television.
Jaya TV, it's going throughout the world. The potential population, potential audience is 95 million people.
Do you get very much response from our television programs?
Yes, yeah. In a month, we get a 75 to 100 phone calls and some 50 to 75 mails, letters, everything.
And so we're actually, with our distribution center that we've been kind of doing out of the Quarterbaum Church and over at this house we've rented, which we're going to move to this new facility, is we're sending literature to all these responses too,
You
right?
are right, you are right.
So literature plays a pretty big role in some of this whole method of how we do evangelism.
Yeah. So the production of the television evangelism, the TV studio is very important because we have to hire a studio. When you hire a studio, the problem is when I enter the studio, they will count the time. Oh, 9 o'clock. Pastor, it's a 9. So my mind will go, oh, 9, 10. So I have to finish within 2 hours, 3 hours, like that. So if
that creates a lot of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure.
And you were saying the quality control sometimes is not that good too.
Yeah.
We were also talking about the fact that not only producing like locked in television programs are like 28 minutes and 30 seconds for broadcast or 1 hour program, but we could also make sermon and educational, like Bible study related DVDs in the studio that kind of like not locked into the length because they're not going to be broadcast on television. What exactly is the plan with making DVDs?
The plan currently, what we are planning is Pastor Shadrach, he is a very powerful preacher. He's preached all over the world.
Yeah, I call him the C.D. Brooks of India. And he says, oh, no. But he is a really clear, powerful speaker.
Powerful speaker. So we want is a Bible study for 1 hour presentation. So we want to make a kind of 28 Bible study, we want to make it. And we want to distribute that one. That is our first goal for this year, we want to do it.
So once we start producing DVDs like that, if somebody calls in and they have a real interest, or the Bible workers are meeting somebody has a real interest, we could actually introduce a DVD to begin with.
Yeah, we can do. So then the second one is we want to take a kind of documentary. Suppose some of the church members through our evangelism. And there are some church members through our evangelism came. Today they are very rich. So we want to take some interview kind of documentary about how after accepting Jesus, what is the change happened, the turning point in their life. We want to take some life-changing experiences. So all that we want to have a record in that our studio.
And I just want to share with our viewing audience too that this is actually a 2-part series, and what you're hearing in this particular broadcast is going to be continued on another broadcast that'll be following next week. And if you want to get this whole 2-part series on a DVD, you can contact our ministry at Laymen Ministries, 414 Zapata Road, St. Mary's, Idaho, 83861. Or you can call us at our toll-free number in the United States at 1-800-245-1844, or get us on the web at www.lmn.org.